Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to another one of our Sunday Schools online today. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, where's Squeak this morning? Well, unfortunately, he isn't able to be with us today because, you see, he's had a very busy week. He has been busy getting ready for Bounce, which is our 5-day club running online tomorrow all week until the end of Friday. And he has been so busy trying to do lots of things for that, so he's a bit sleepy right now and he's actually still snoring away in his bed. I didn't want to be the one to wake him and make him feel grumpy, so unfortunately he's not with us today. But if you want to see him, you better tune in to Bounce tomorrow on YouTube, 11 o'clock in the morning and 11 o'clock every day this week. And we'll be doing some Bible stories, some exercises, some crafts, some funny things. Come and join us and see what it's like. It's for any kids and any adults if you want to join as well. Now, today I thought we would think about some characters. And I really like the Little Miss and Mr. main characters. I don't know about you, but I think they're pretty cool. I wonder if you can guess what characters these are just here when they pop up. And I want to see if maybe you think you're a bit little like them. Do any of these characters make you think about you a little bit? Okay, so let's look at the first character we have is... Who's this? Mr. Happy. Now, Mr. Happy, he is the happiest person in the land. He cheers everybody up all the time and makes people feel great. I wonder if you like him sometimes. Now, let's look at the next one. We have Little Miss Chatterbox and Mr. Chatterbox. And they just don't stop talking. When they shouldn't be talking, all the time, they are talk. I wonder if you like that sometimes. Do you chat away to your friends all the time? Are you a little bit of a chatterbox? Let's have a look at the next one. Okay? This is Mr. Daydream. Mr. Daydream likes to go off on his own little adventures all the time in his imagination. So he might be thinking he's in a different country, or he's outside, or he's doing something really crazy. But it's all in his imagination. He's always daydreaming. I wonder if you like that. I wonder, do you like to do daydreams and imagine things in your head? Okay, well, let's have another one. Who's this? Well, this is Little Miss Inventor. She loves to think of new things to make, to build. She has her own shed in the bottom of her garden and she creates cool inventions. And this is Little Miss Inventor. I wonder if you like her. Do you like to make things? Do you like to think up cool ideas in your head as well? Wonder if you like her. Okay, our very last one. Let's see if you can guess who this is. This is Mr. Silly. Mr. Silly is really silly. He lives in Nonsense Land. Everything is super silly in Nonsense Land. He has the silliest looking house in all of the land. And I tell you a wee sneaky thing about him. He likes to have 1 spoonful of marmalade in his coffee. Could you imagine what that would taste like? Oh, he's a silly one. Well, I wonder if you like him sometimes. Do you like to play tricks on people? Are you a little bit silly? Do you like silly things? All of these characters are funny and they're different in different ways, just like each of us. Today we're going to have a closer look at 2 different characters. So first of all, let's have a look at this character. This is Mr. Jelly. Now, I wonder, do you know about Mr. Jelly? It's not that he likes jelly a lot, but Mr. Jelly, let's tell you a story about him. Mr. Jelly gets quite frightened about a lot of things. He would tremble, he would shake, and he would turn to jelly at even the smallest little thing. He's so afraid of everything that he had to go and live off in a forest on his own in a wee house by himself. But you see, one morning he was in his bed and he woke up because a leaf gently fluttered down outside from a tree, and it brushed his window. But to him, it didn't seem like a brush. He jumped up from his sleep. He woke up and he shouted, "What's that noise? What's that terrible noise? Oh no, it's an earthquake, it's an earthquake. My house is going to fall down, what am I going to do?" Well, he pulled his bedclothes over his head and he trembled with fear. And you know what? He stayed under his bedclothes for 1 whole hour and wouldn't come out. And it was just a leaf, but he thought his house was falling down. Well, later that day, Mr. Jelly decided, once he got the courage to get out of his bed, he decided he would go for a walk in the forest where he lived. And well, as he was walking, this little worm popped up near him. And the little worm said, "Good morning." Mr. Jelly jumped out of his skin. What was that? It's a snake. It's going to eat me. So he climbed up a tree because he didn't know what to do. He was so afraid of this little worm, but he thought it was a snake that was going to eat him and was terrifying. He was so afraid that he stayed up this tree for 1 whole hour. Up the tree. Well, he eventually decided he would climb down the tree and he would continue on his walk. But all of a sudden, there was a big snoring noise. What was that? Oh no, what was that? It was a lion. I heard it roar. It was a lion. Oh no, what am I going to do? Lions are enormous. They've got big teeth. Oh no, Mr. Jelly thought. And really, it was just a man who had fallen asleep in the field. But Mr. Jelly, he got super worried about it. You see, Mr. Jelly got frightened so easily, and he was really quite scared of a lot of different things. But let's take a look at another character, and this is Mr. Brave. Well, Mr. Brave was a little bit different to Mr. Jelly. He loved to help people out and he liked to show that he was brave. One day, Mr. Messy, he got stuck in the water and he was shouting for help. And Mr. Brave, although he had somewhere he needed to go, he thought, I could go and help Mr. Messy. I could do that job. And so he ran over, jumped in the water, grabbed Mr. Messy and helped him out. He was super brave. Well, then he kept on his journey, and next he heard this crying, and he looked up, and there was little Miss Somersault. She was up on her tightrope, and she was so upset. She called, Mr. Brave, nobody wants to come up on my tightrope with me. You're brave, you'll come up, won't you? Well, he thought, well, I am brave. Maybe I could come up. When he went up, he stood on the tightrope and he noticed the rope looked a little bit thin and he thought, oh no, what if this rope breaks? And Mr. Brave started to say, oh no, what if the rope breaks? What if I fall? What happens if I fall? And he started to get a little bit scared of falling off the tightrope. You see, Mr. Brave, he even got frightened sometimes. Although he was brave and able to help people, there were some things that made him a little bit scared. And that's kind of like us. We're kind of a little bit sometimes like Mr. Jelly, and we're sometimes like Mr. Brave. Everybody gets afraid sometimes. And that's what I want us to think about this morning. I wonder if you can have a think in your head of a time that you felt a little bit worried or a little bit afraid. I know I get a little bit afraid sometimes. But you see, today we're going to look at something that God says to us in the Bible. And today we're going to look at the book called Isaiah. We're going to go to chapter 41 and look at verse 10. And we're going to see what it says. So let's do that now. Let's have a read. says this. God says, "Do not be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand." Now you see, God cares about every little fear that we have. Everything that makes us afraid, God cares about those things. He doesn't want us to feel afraid though. But he doesn't get disappointed when we feel afraid, just like Mr. Jelly and just like Mr. Brave. He doesn't get disappointed with us when we feel that way because he knows that we will sometimes. But what God is saying to us in the verses we just read in our Bible, he's saying to us that he will be with us. He will never let us go. He says that don't be afraid because he is with you. But he's not only just with us. Then he says, I will strengthen you and I will help you. And sometimes when we're afraid, it can make us not do things because we're worried about what other people might say. Or we might not go somewhere because we're worried about what might happen. But God says, I will give you the strength to do those things, even if it's hard. And God tells us that even he'll give us the strength, but he'll also be there and he'll also help us through it. He's not going to leave you on your own to do it by yourself when it's hard. And we all feel afraid sometimes, but we need to trust that God is going to be with us just like he says. God wants to protect us and he doesn't want us to feel afraid, even though we will sometimes. So, next time you feel afraid, let's try and talk to God and we can tell him how we feel. We can be open and honest and tell God that we're feeling scared. And he then will help us. We can ask him to come, give us his strength, help us and hold us. And then our fears and our worries won't seem so big anymore. So let's remember, we can use our hand here to help us. Let's remember this one point at the end, that God is always with me. Can you say it with me? So hold your hand up and we're going to say, God is always with me. Good job. So don't forget, anytime you feel afraid, just like Mr. Jelly and just like Mr. Brave, that you can come to God and you can ask him to be with you and help you, and he will. Okay, I will see you sometime soon, boys and girls. Have a great rest of your Sunday and we'll hopefully see you at Bounce this week. Bye.